everybody, and welcome to our seminar today, Suspension for Mortals. This seminar is going to be conducted and based on a simple book I've written called Suspension for Mortals. Suspension for Mortals is a basic guide to Grand Prix motorcycle suspension and street use suspension. The book is very basic in its scope, but what it contains is 90% of what 90% of people need to know. While it may seem simple when you look at it, if you're going to learn the stuff that we're going to show you here today, you will know more than most of the people you'll ever cross in the paddock about setting up and tuning your motorcycle. So don't be alarmed. We're not going to have any dramatic math and trigonometry and calculus here today. It's going to be very, very simple in scope. We're going to point to the components. We're going to name them. We're going to talk about, give you the the basic dialect and lingo and terms you'll need so you can talk amongst yourselves in the paddock and when you go to the track and on the internet. Once you have the terminology, we're going to give you a little baseline setup, show you how to get your bike tweaked into the ballpark hopefully. And we're going to talk about trackside evaluation when you ride the bike, what to look for while you're riding it, and then we're going to give you some ideas on where to move it and what to do with it once you've accomplished this. This videotape is going to be broken into 3 segments. The first segment we're going to talk about will be terminology and component inspection, just so we know what we've got works and what we're talking about. The second video is going to be baseline setup, and we're going to show you what the names of all the knobs are, where to move them, and what to look for. And the third segment will be the trackside performance, riding evaluation, and then adjustment. Now, as far as the adjustment goes, the bigger goal here, what we're looking for, is to give you enough familiarity with the components, the names, and how they function to give you the ideas and thoughts to be able to come and find an expert suspension tuner and speak effectively to them. Anybody ever see Days of Thunder, Tom Cruise race NASCAR movie, where he's talking to the old tuner guy and he says, I don't, wedge, stagger, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't tell you anything about it. And so the old guy teaches him the lingo so that he can tell him what's wrong with the car. And that's all we're really looking to do here today. It would be nearly impossible for you to learn or to be taught what a full-time suspension tuner knows, because you're really going to work with yourself and one bike. A professional suspension tuner gets to work with 100 guys on 100 bikes per weekend for 30 weekends a year. So the data pool's big when you're involved in it, but when you're just trying to work with yourself, it's going to be very difficult. So we just want you to be able to come and find an expert and ask the right questions and speak effectively, right? Basic analogy of that is whatever your job is, I don't know how to do that, and I might learn enough about it to ask a question. I'm just dangerous enough with a computer to be able to explain my problem to somebody that knows about computers, right? So that's our primary goal here today. One of the things I like to talk about to put some of this in perspective, I call a reality check, and we'll kind of do this based on lap time. How many racers we have here? Less than usual, about a third. And track days riders? Most of the class, all right. All right, so this will be easy, to even exaggerate this for you. Most people, when they go to a track, are aware of lap times, right, that maybe a fast pro will do. How many people, I guess, were in the area of Road Atlanta? Anybody ever got to ride at Road Atlanta? A small portion. Let's say Talladega. Hey, there's where everybody's ridden. All right, so let's say Talladega, for instance. You get fast guy, Opie Kaler out there. He'll run, what, 57s, 56s, something like that, right? So if you're on the track and you're out there, so if we got an expert rider going 56 seconds a lap around a given, 1.3 mile track, and you're out there and you're going 1:06, right? Not fast, not slow, right? But if you're on the same bike, you're on a GS6R or whatever the hot bike of the year is, of the day, and you're on DOT tires just like the fast guy is, but you're riding this bike around and the wheels are sliding, the bike's wobbling, you're totally out of control and you're riding it as fast as you absolutely think it'll go, well, what's the difference between you and Opie Kaler? It's not necessarily that Opie is the world's greatest rider. He'll have his bike far better sorted than you do. If you're riding on stock suspension with stock springs and nobody's ever touched a knob on the motorcycle, and you're going to try and compare your lap time to an expert rider who has properly tuned and prepared suspension, his geometry's been set up, and then the bike has been dialed into his riding style, you're not going to have a chance. So you're only going to ride your bike as fast as you can ride it until you're frightened by it, and that just makes sense. Now, I can tell you that Opie's frightened of his bike at 56 seconds per lap, right? But now you're knowing where the limit is, right? This is so when you say I'm riding as fast as it'll go, I just can't go any faster. You got to have a reality check of, okay, this guy's going 10 seconds a lap faster than me on a minute lap time track. You know, this is comparable if anybody's been to Daytona. If you're going 2:20 at Daytona, and the expert riders are going a minute 50 on, DOT tired, unlimited, like FUSA bikes, running aftermarket shock, stock forks, limited to 145 horsepower on DOT tires, they go a minute 50. And so if you're that far off the pace, that's the reality check, right? We want to get you somewhere to move towards that faster guy, and the only way we can do that is by adjusting your bike to suit your needs and your style and your preference, okay?